What's good, Pascal Bros? I'm back with another video. I have a good one for you today. Let me adjust this right here. I have a good one for you today. I know a lot of you want to know how to meet women when you travel abroad. This is probably the most, this is probably the top request that I get all the time on my channel, from emails, on consultation. I hear a lot of people say, yo, I'm concerned. How do I meet women when I travel abroad? And I'm gonna break a couple of things down to you. I know a lot of you, when you travel, your first thing is you're gonna go on Tinder. You're gonna pay, and then you're gonna switch your location. I don't think that's the best way to meet women when you travel abroad, and I'll tell you why. The main reasons why a lot of guys are getting drugged and scopomined in Colombia and all these countries and meeting some of the bottom of the barrel women is because they settle for Tinder, right? Tinder could be a good way to kind of meet people. So yeah, you can kind of have a conversation, try to sift through who you want to hang out with. But I'm in West Africa. I don't think they should download Tinder at all. To be honest, I want to be honest with you, all my followers and people listening to me right now, is when you want to meet people, when you travel, especially when you come to West Africa where I am, I think you shouldn't download Tinder at all, because all you're gonna meet is pros. To be honest, all you're gonna meet is pros. Most of the women that you're gonna meet on there are gonna be pros, straight up. And the most bottom of the barrel women, any country you go to, I don't care if you go to Saudi Arabia, I don't care if you go to Philippines, anywhere you go to, the most bottom of the barrel women are gonna be on Tinder. When I was dating extensively here, I used to ask women, hey, have you ever been on dating sites or dating apps? And a lot of them said, no, I'll never be on a dating app. You will never find me on a dating app. I barely post on Instagram. I barely post on WhatsApp. I barely post on this and that. So, and I know a lot of you be thinking, well, how do I meet women if I'm not there yet? It depends on where you go. It depends on where you go. It's gonna be very hard to meet quality women on Tinder, especially when you come to West Africa, or even when I was in London, some of the most bottom of the barrel women were on Tinder. I mean, pros, just straight away, just asking like, hey, do you have money? This is how much I charge, blah, blah, blah. So when you come to West Africa, I think your main bet, and I don't think you can switch your location on this, but I think your best bet might be Bumble, right? I don't think you'll be able to switch location, because the thing about it is this, right? When you download Tinder and you switch your location, you're gonna have at least 100 matches. It's not gonna be like the United States where, you know, where you barely get a match, where you just swipe. When you leave the United States, your matches are gonna be overwhelming. I mean, imagine going from zero matches in 4 years. You've probably been on Tinder, to just signing up for Tinder in 1 week. You have 150 matches. You won't know what to do with them. So, and that's a lot of time trying to sieve through all these women, trying to see which one is a pro, which one is not. I think obviously you would know which ones are pros because they will show their body a lot more. There'll be more like, you'll be shocked. But to meet the most valuable women, you have to be on ground. You have to code approach. You have to talk to women. It's not like the United States. It's not like those countries where you can't code approach, or they'll look at you like, who the F are you talking to? It's very easy to talk to women here. Women are down to earth, easygoing, here in West Africa. And I can promise you that code approaching is the best way. If you go to the bank, if you're in the filling station, if you your hotel lobby, if you're walking down the street from your Airbnb, I think those are the best ways, because a lot of these women, the most beautiful, the most valuable women, you will never find them on dating apps. You won't. You just won't find them on dating apps. The ones on dating apps are the ones that you don't want to really mess with, or the ones that kind of have kind of a different mentality, kind of pay for play-ish mentality, kind of transaction. And I'm not saying you can't meet some of those on the street, but I'm saying like the most valuable women in any country you're gonna go to are not gonna be on dating apps. So if you want to meet valuable women when you travel abroad, especially when you come to West Africa, I think you should put in the work. You should put in the work. And it doesn't matter how you look. The United States is different from here. You don't have to be 6 foot tall or this and that, drive Lamborghini. Like, nobody cares about that here. Nobody cares about that here. It's who you are, how confident you are, are you neat, are you clean, how do you talk, are you respectful? That's what people look at here. That's what women look at here. And most of the most beautiful women that you might want to take seriously, if you want to date seriously, you will not find them on social media. You won't find them on dating apps. You just won't. You just won't. I'm just keeping it real with you. And I know a lot of you are asking, okay, so how do I meet women before I get here? You don't necessarily have to meet women before you get here, but if you have to, I would say go on Tinder. But I'm really, really frowning upon that. I'm really, really against that. I'm really against that. Um, what I can suggest is this, right? When you come in and again, I don't know if you could switch locations on Bumble, but I think Bumble is probably the best to kind of get your feet wet. But I'm not saying just swipe all day, your whole trip, and just stay in your room and swipe, swipe, swipe. No, I'm saying go outside. I'm saying just to get your feet wet. It's easy to get matches. It's easy to meet people. So I don't think you have to meet women before you get here. I think we're kind of sucked into this dating app and this kind of dating app lifestyle where you have to meet like 10 women before you get here so you can arrange. You don't have to do all that. There were times where guys traveled back in the day where there was not dating apps and they were meeting beautiful women just walking down the street. So I think you guys need to get used to that. You have to get used to doing things the traditional way, the old school way, more the subtle way, so that you won't meet the wrong kind of people when you travel. Because I do consultations and I do calls, and guys are like, oh, I went to Nigeria for 4 days, and all the women I met were westernized and this and that. I'm like, no, they're not westernized. It's just you on dating apps. I'm like, how did you meet them? On Tinder, right? Yeah, on Tinder. You can't just judge the women of a country based on the women you met on Tinder. In any country you go to, the most bottom of the barrel women are gonna be on Tinder, because that's where all the pros post up. That's where they advertise. Because a lot of them don't walk on the street anymore. This is not 1965 where you go to some corner and all the pros are down the street. All the pros are digital now. They're digital. So I think for you to actually meet the most beautiful women that you might want to take seriously, if that's what you want, I think you need to shy away from just going on Tinder and swiping, because that kind of takes away from the experience of the place you're going to, right? Because I remember when I went to Rome, when I was in London and Rome, and I think it happened to me in Paris too, is I found myself in the room in the afternoon where I was supposed to enjoy the city, walk around, go to the museums. I did all that, but I'm saying like I wasted a lot of times in the room just swiping, instead of going outside. And I learned from traveling and do more traveling that, necessarily just meeting women on Tinder was not this, going on dating apps is not the best way to necessarily meet women. Now, I've had some good experiences with Tinder. For example, when I went to Barcelona, I had 3 dates lined up. So that's kind of, that was different. And by the time I got from Miami to Barcelona, I had people waiting for me. But again, it's not every country you go to. In West Africa, Colombia, Philippines, all those places, I don't think if you wanna meet a serious-minded woman, I don't think you will find her on Tinder or maybe Bumble. Maybe you'll find her on Bumble, maybe you won't. But I think you should get used to, as man, you should get used to cold approaching outside of the U.S. And I think the mentality with a lot of you guys is you get scared. You think every country is like the U.S. You think women are scary all over the world. Like they'll treat you like they'll disrespect you like the women in America will. And it's not that way at all. It's a polar opposite. Once you get outside of the matrix, women are different. You can actually approach women. In West Africa here, you can approach any woman. If she's married, she'll tell you she's married. If she has a man, she'll tell you she has a man. But you have to get used to that. You have to get out of your shell. Because I know living in the U.S., people don't approach anymore. Everybody's in their shell. Everybody would rather be online. They'd rather be hiding behind a keyboard swiping. Like, you see someone on the street, you want to approach them, and then you go swipe and see if you can find them. Like, you don't do that overseas. You don't do that at all. You're wasting your time. If you really want serious-minded women, if you want serious-minded women that you can take seriously and kind of, try to build a family with, or marry, or make your wife, or even a long-term relationship, I don't think you will find them on dating apps. I don't think you will. Not in any country. I mean, if you're lucky, you might find one, but I don't think you should bank your whole time, waste your whole time and trip on just swiping, swiping, swiping. Because outside of the US, women are generally approachable, right? So I think you should start to get used to that. You guys should start getting used to that, because a lot of you leave the US and you go outside the country and you start meeting bottom of the barrel women, especially you black man. I'm telling y'all, because I have a lot of calls, and you go outside the US and you're meeting bottom of the barrel women, and you're going to Colombia and getting drugged, and you don't want to learn Spanish, you don't want to learn Portuguese. If you go to Brazil, you have to learn the language. If you go into a country that the language is not, the primary language is not English, or they don't speak English, you have to start learning these languages. You have to meet someone where you can use her to learn the language, and she can use you to learn some English. But apart from that, if you meet a woman in Colombia that speaks straight English, you already know the deal. You're swapping body fluids with other gringos. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that in Africa either. You want to go out and meet women. There are women that don't have online footprint. Like there's lots of women that don't have online footprint. There's lots of women that you won't find on dating apps. The most beautiful, feminine women, you won't find them on dating apps. You won't. Trust me, I'm here. I've been living in Nigeria for the past over a year now, and I'm telling you right now, the most beautiful women, you just have to go out and talk to them. And they're easy to talk to. So I'm telling you guys right now, I'm giving y'all the info. I'm giving y'all the 911, the 411, that's a 911. So you guys should, as you prepare to travel, you guys need to just recognize this, that you don't have to go on Tinder and swipe, 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 swipe. It's a bad deal. You're gonna meet pros. You're gonna meet, women that you don't want to deal with at all, and you don't want to waste your trip and life and time and money and resources on bottom of the barrel women in any country. Even if you go to Saudi Arabia, Qatar, anywhere, Dubai, all the pros are lined up on Tinder. You don't want to do that. I mean, you don't want to do that. And I know a lot of you are used to being lazy, and you just you don't want to approach anymore, and I get it. Life overseas and life in the matrix is tough. You can't just approach women anyhow. But if you go outside the US, you have to know that you have to change your mindset. You have to summon some courage and start approaching. That's the only way you can meet the most beautiful women. I don't care if you're in the Philippines, Thailand, Brazil, you have to. And I'm giving you guys the game. Peace and love. Like, subscribe. Please book a consultation. My email is below. My Venmo, my Cash App, my freaking PayPal is below. Support the channel. Let's get this channel to 1,000 subs. Let's go. Peace.